Well, that's going to be, that's usually the topic of a future webinar when we talk about trending and non-trending markets. But what happens is when you have an emerging pattern, as you can see here on this right side that I'm pointing at, emerging patterns show us patterns that have support and resistance but are still trading inside of the pattern. For a swing trader, a person that wants to sell resistance and buy support, emerging patterns are very popular. For a person that likes to trade breakouts, they can watch an emerging pattern and determine where those support and resistance lines come in and then anticipate a breakout. If they want to wait for auto chartists to identify a breakout, then that goes on the completed side. And so auto chartists will show you patterns that are beginning to break out of support and resistance. So as a trader, emerging patterns help you identify what could happen, and then the completed patterns help you determine what is happening. Okay? Entry and exit levels we talk about at other webinars, but basically you always have the choice to trail, to set a target, or to let a market go, for example, hoping for a bigger trend. And we have various tools such as, if you look here, if I click on this analysis, we have tools such as Power Stats, which shows the price range, expected price range movement on a 15-minute, 30-minute, hourly, 4-hour, or daily basis. And this could help you set stops or help set objectives. And also, when we, if you look at it, when we do get a completed pattern, like for example this breakdown, Auto Chartist gives you this gray area here, and also tells you these prices for this gray area, where the market could go to. It gives you an upper boundary price target. So those are a few of the ways that Auto Chartist can help you set your entry and exit strategies. Again, it's a pattern recognition software, and it's not a trading system, but certainly it does provide you with enough information to set entries and exits. Okay. I don't have an answer for IBFX used to provide standalone binary pattern recognition system. I'm not familiar with what they or why they discontinued it. Sometimes these programs take a lot to support: data feeds, things like that, licensing agreements. So they could have various reasons. In what way and how to do Auto Chartist determines the forecast too? That's also included in the algorithm. But I can tell you from my experience, if you are working with chart patterns long enough, let's take a look here at the stock indices, for example. There's various ways to determine targets. Sometimes it's just a matter of taking the distance between the support and resistance line in a flag pattern or a channel and just subtracting it from this breakout point, setting the objective down here. That's one way to do it. Other traders, especially if you use MT4 platform plugin for Auto Chartist, they may say, I'd like from this low to this high, I think this market can retrace 50% or 618. So you have a different way to do that. If you used Auto Chartist Fibonacci patterns, for example, for the stock indices here, let's look at a pattern here. Auto Chartist, when you look at emerging patterns, Auto Chartist can help you use Fibonacci patterns that set target areas for emerging patterns, as well as we have opportunities to set, there's retracement zones, Fibonacci levels. All these things are suggestions where the market could, what the market can do or where it can go to. This completed pattern, for example, in the dollar Canadian, this is called a 3-point extension, and what it's saying is that after point C is formed, the market can rally back to any one of these Fibonacci levels, okay, and it identifies the numbers here. So there are a lot of ways that Auto Chartist determines targets. Here's an emerging pattern called the Gartley pattern that Auto Chartist is saying, based on this formation here, price and time indicate that we could be down here, and so that's a price and time symmetry You can see we have price and time symmetry here. So depending on which function you use in AutoChartist, there's various ways to set targets. How it sets the gray box, that's the secret. But again, you have an opportunity to have as much freedom as you want to. Okay? It's highly accurate too. We've seen stats that show that forecast zones get hit about 70% of the time. All right, another question. So what does each candle, so does that mean each candlestick is 15 minutes? On a 15-minute chart, each candlestick is 15 minutes, yes. What's the nature of the licensing of the AutoChartist algorithms? I'm not privy to that kind of information, so Arnold, you'll have to ask through an email. What is the minimum acceptable clarity number to feel good about placing the trade? As I said, when you look at AutoChartist clarity ratings and uniformity ratings, that's really fulfilling the art side of your trade pattern. Again, trading, you can talk to any trader. There's an art and a science if you're a pattern watcher. All right, it's a combination of the two. So when you're looking at initial trend and clarity and breakout, you want to have a strong trend, so you want to have high rating there. And when you have a breakout, you want to see that there was high volatility, so you want to see a good rating there. But what I feel good about for clarity, for a high clarity trade, is 7 to 10 on the rating. Whether that makes me feel good about the trade, I'd have to say that I don't put that much weight in the clarity for a trade. I put more weight in the initial trend and the breakout being high. But I want to make sure that I'm trading a pattern that people recognize, that besides me, I want to be alone on the trade. So I want to have the help of somebody's volume and somebody else's money to help the trade become successful. And that's why I want a high quality rating, so that when it does break out, that there's some money and there's funds behind it that will help drive volume to that pattern that'll make the trade work. That's how I look at it. Okay, what settings do you recommend? As I said, if you go to these webinars that I do, you'll know that I want to see a 7 to 10 rating on initial trend, and I want to see a 7 to 10 on breakout. I want to see those two work together. Clarity and uniformity, I'd like to have 7 to 10 on those. I'd like to have clarity and uniformity as high as possible, and I'd like to have them set up with long, lengthy patterns, so that when they do break out, that I'm attracting that volume to that pattern that's going to trigger my volatility. That's how everything's tied together. You can have the greatest pattern in the world with the highest ratings, but if you're doing it on Christmas Eve, it's probably not going to work because there's nobody trading. So you want to have a pattern that looks good, that drives volume to it, that creates the volatility that's going to push the pattern to the objective. That's in essence what the key is. Let's see, where do I get it? What's the cost? You go to autochartist.com and you can see information on there, Pete. That should help you out. And which Fibonacci pattern does it use? I like Gartley 222. I don't know the exact formulas that they use, but if you go into the Fibonacci pattern section here, you can go to new search, and in this area you can drop down to advanced search, and you're going to see a list of all the patterns that AutoChartist has that are in the Fibonacci family. The building block of all these patterns is the ABCD, which is the basic lightning bolt pattern. So if you're going to go to a Gartley pattern, you can click on this I button, and it's going to tell you the characteristics, how it forms, and what it suggests, and that's going to help you out there. But as far as knowing the precise formula, I'm not sure. But if you go through these patterns and you watch them and you make observations on it, you can select chart patterns that are only Gartley patterns. For example, if you wanted to filter if you want to filter everything else out. Now, I do a Fibonacci webinar, and that'll be coming up in the future, so check the website for the dates of that. So I don't want to get too far ahead, but I do cover that topic. And I think I have time for one more question. I can hear the band playing, signaling the end of the show. Will it find W formation? Yes, it will find W's and M's. W's for bottoms and M's for tops. So yes, that question. I can see a big shouting yes at me, Pete. I can see you're pretty excited about that Fibonacci pattern, so that's good. We're going to end it on a high note. I appreciate you coming, and I hope you enjoyed the show, and continue to come back. I enjoy doing these, and thank you very much. Again, we have these scheduled every week, either Thursday or Friday, so continue to come back, and definitely go to the website, look at the articles, look at the educational articles, our daily pieces, any videos we show on there, and ask any questions, and certainly sign up for a trial or for the program. So thank you very much.